Hi, good morning. I'm Justin Jackson, and this is Selling Power's Sales 2.0 conference, and I'm here with Gerhard Gschwandtner. Gerhard, so you've been doing some very interesting events now for years. A lot of people have learned a lot about sales and sales leadership, but what we've heard is that one of the most incredible tools that you've recently run across was this tool called MoneyBallForSales.com. Could you tell us a little bit about that tool and how it works?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for asking the question, because there are not many innovations in the field of sales development and training. In the past, sales training was delivered by charismatic sales managers and by good, solid sales trainers. And selling was more an art than a science. So sales trainers habitually taught salespeople, do what I do. Do it like I have been doing it, because it was successful. And that was an empirical methodology, and it was successful until about 1987, where everything changed. The internet came about, customers shifted from talking directly to salespeople to talking to each other. Now we're in an era where 60% of the purchasing decision is made online. So you have a lot more educated buyers, and salespeople need to change very fast. So what Moneyball has done is they have created a foundation of science by working with the Kelley School at Indiana University, and created this scientific foundation where, and everybody knows about big data. The more data you have to analyze the big trends and the big movements in the marketplace, sales managers can recognize that, and they can match behavior to results. So by having that data, sales managers can coach and train salespeople to be far more effective.
Wow, so would it be safe to say that a sales leader, after kind of going through the transformation of the Moneyball process, is going to possibly look and maybe feel more like Brad Pitt? Or would it be more of a Jonah Hill that they would feel like afterwards?
I would not make an analogy between a salesperson and a famous actor, because I think salespeople want to be authentic, they want to be real, they don't want to impersonate a salesperson or a baseball coach. Salespeople with Moneyball will have a transformation, they will feel a transformation. Because a lot of people in the past, they say, you know, the goal in life is to find yourself. And that's not the real goal. The real goal is to create yourself. And you want to create yourself in a way that brings out the best in you. And that's what Moneyball is doing.
Exactly. It is empowering a salesperson to be their best, right? I've found it really intriguing how they've really been confident, you know, with statistics, using statistics and math to make a recommendation that essentially empowers you more with data that about your DNA, your makeup, right? And so this is going to be used, you know, by the individual, right, or by a sales leader. Right.
Sure. So the interesting thing is that you know more about Moneyball than I do. How did you learn so much about it?
So I learned a lot about Moneyball while working for Career Builder for the last 6.5 years, and through various sales roles and sales leader roles, I finally got into a position that they allowed me to create something like Moneyball, actually to create Moneyball. And so today, and over the last 1.5 years, I've been the managing director of product development for Career Builder, and a big initiative of mine was to work with our VP of Sales Strategy on a solution that was going to help us grow coming out of the recession, as well as, you know, try to reduce some of the turnover losses that we had as we were promoting inside salespeople into our middle market and enterprise level positions. And Moneyball helped us really kind of identify that a lot of the ownership fell on the leader, on the frontline manager. And we felt like it was due to a lack of understanding, because as we all kind of know and agree, and I believe there's studies here, that you will act upon something, you're more likely to be motivated to do something if it's very clearly defined. And so we felt like, because people are very complicated, and salespeople are maybe even more so, some might say, if we could reduce some of the uncertainty and make it more clear to a sales coach, a manager acting as a coach, frontline manager acting as a coach, of how to best develop and understand their people to make them perform at a higher level. If it was possible, we realized sometimes there are things that, traits are like a stick in the mud, or stick in tar. There's a little bit of movement and wiggle room, but some things are pretty set in place. But for skill development, which is, there are levers and it's a sliding scale, if it was possible to develop that, we wanted to give a clear picture both to the manager as well as the salesperson of where they are today and where they need to be to succeed in this organization and in sales.
So based on what you have learned in designing the program and the way people apply it today, can you explain, is peak performance more a result of pushing the art of sales or the science of sales?
I would think that I think that some innovative sales leaders today are probably transforming their mindset to realize that science is actually an art in itself. The art of how you are going to use data and use science is up to you to interpret. And art is a lot about interpretation. Big data and data science is a lot about interpretation. What we do is with Moneyball and this team of professors that we have on our have commissioned for it, we work with you to what do you want to interpret out of this, and how confident can we use, then you pulling in science into it and statistics, how statistically confident are we in this interpretation, that this is the right way to look at it. For example, you believe that sales presentations are really the key to driving sales at your organization. Well, we would like to, in various ways, collect information that would help us determine if that was actually true. And today, I feel like we, as sales organizations, are moving towards this direction of reducing subjectivity and kind of guesswork, and really, you can't do that. You can't. Now, bring it back to science. You can't do that unless you test. You make a hypothesis. You have a method of collection for data. You interpret the data, you analyze the data, you maybe have to do some more data mining to get better results out of it, and then in the end you finally make a recommendation that is you're confident in. And when you work with academics, they have to put their careers on the line by publishing the work that they do. So it's a little bit different than me as a sales trainer acting upon my own personal interest and saying this is the best way to do something.
It sounds like, based on the excitement that I get from you, is that you have reinvented or rediscovered the DNA of successful sales.
I won't go that far. I think, though, we have possibly maybe rediscovered or maybe helped leaders see something that was right in front of them, that it's pretty easy to get to the conclusions that we want to, but it starts with collecting it and then having a little bit of math skills.
So it sounds like you're at the front of a new movement, which I would call DBS, which is database selling, where you have a foundation of insights that you collect from the sales organization and from their behaviors, and then take that back and say, those are the successful behaviors, let's train to that, and this is how everybody's going to get more success.
Actually, I caution the recommendations from a universe of salespeople or a database. We have good examples of organizations that are very similar, and I mean even when you have some data, you would still look at them very similar. When you dug deeper, they were so different, and so that their results and their recommendations for where they should really have development and what the skills that were driving sales were so drastically different that you wouldn't want to hire one person from that organization. And many companies' strategies are very their recruitment strategies are very heavily weighted by targeting competitors, targeting sales individuals that have worked in their industry. And it's not always a great strategy, as we are really determining. Really, the best strategy is to look at yourself in a vacuum. And your limitations on that are just having enough data points, right? And so a lot of times with the analysis that we do, we need a minimum of about 85 people. Essentially, it's a nice sweet spot. If we have less than that, we just require, you might have to do a couple of extra kind of data collection surveys. But we're looking at yourself in a vacuum is really the best way to do it, because we are all so vastly different in what skills are driving our organizations, even if we sell the exact same solutions.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank
And that
you
is
for
God's honest truth.
You wouldn't lie to me.
No. Well, not to your face. Not here.
Not here. Later.
I mean, I did tell you you were a good juggler earlier, so now I kind of feel like I should probably tell you that I don't think you're that great of a juggler. I think you're an average juggler.
Well,
I feel better now. I kind of got that off my chest.
I'm glad that you gave me this data point.
But you are better than me at juggling. So that
Right.
is still an honest
So
assessment.
my name is ahead of yours on the leaderboard.
That's true.
So since you started this interview, how do you want to end it?
So I think just by saying that this has been a great event so far, and I look forward to the rest of this event. And I think that for anyone watching this, that if you have never attended a Selling Power event, that you should attend the very next one that you can, because it is very enlightening. And Gerhard is as you have just witnessed, a very lively character and just an awesome human being. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.